Good morning, everybody. Um, the book of Genesis concludes this week, and I'm feeling sad. I always feel really sad. Like I just want to start the book of Genesis all over again. And for me, going back to the beginning, um, the way that I was taught to translate the opening words instead of in the beginning, Rabbi David Cooper, I remember translated it as beginninging, so that it's like a constant process of beginning. There's no fixed beginning. And just bringing that up now because that's kind of how I'm feeling. And of course, I love the book of Exodus, which we will open next week. And I just want to, I don't know, stay a little bit longer in these stories of these ancestors who never quite get it right. Um, and yet, the way I read Torah and the way I want to read Torah is that there's always a crack of light, a crack of hope in every event that's not quite getting it right. And I really need that. I need Torah right now to be a spiritual wisdom text that doesn't continue to drown me in the despair and hopelessness I'm feeling these days, but rather I want a Torah that somehow builds in me the energy of okay, there's a crack of light and we're moving forward. I really want and need spiritual texts these days to kind of amplify whatever it is in me that can hold on to a belief that as humanity we're moving forward. And I do find that in this week's Parsha, which is called Vay'chi, meaning and he lived. So the story is mainly about Jacob's death and all the events and how it impacts his family and all of Egypt and all of Canaan. Uh, and it's called And He Lived. So that's a sign of hope right there, that it's hope, and it's also humbling and an important message for us to realize that when we die, how we die, after we have died, we still live. And what is it that lives on? It's our actions. It's the impact of our actions. It's the reverberations of our words and our actions. And I think this whole Parsha and is kind of wrapping up the whole book of Genesis by saying to us, look, here are your human ancestors. Find yourself in every single one of them and know that our actions matter. They matter because they impact others. And the evolution of humanity, starting with Adam and Eve in the garden, uh, the growth of humanity is to see more and more what Adam and Eve had no clue of seeing, which is that our actions affect all of humanity. And the core of the Judeo-Christian well, like the beginning of it, let's say, of the Judeo-Christian way of looking at the world, right, is that what happened in the garden with these, innocent bodies of light, the fall from innocence, so-called, has cast a shadow over humanity, that it's like the defining feature of humanity. So the book of Genesis in that way starts, and now we're going to see it continues and ends with showing us in so many different ways your actions matter. What you do matters, because it doesn't just end when you get up and walk away. It doesn't just end the reverberations, the karma, the continuation of the actions of Joseph's brothers does not end when somebody pulls Joseph out of the pit. It continues to impact and define their lives. And speaking specifically to that, just fast forwarding into a little bit into the Parsha, is this scene when Jacob, after kind of putting Joseph in charge of what's going to happen, and I want to tie that into something in a moment, but he then, summons, or all the rest of the sons appear, and Jacob gives what is one of the more famous scenes in this Parsha, his deathbed blessings to the other sons. Notably, by the way, Dinah, the daughter, is completely erased. And there's no women in this entire Parsha. So that's, of course, like extraordinarily troubling and blah. Anyway, putting that aside. So Jacob, on his deathbed, proceeds to speak to each of his sons. And just to give an example of the tone of what Torah calls Jacob's blessings, although it uses different words. It uses the words charging his sons, or laying out for his sons what's going to happen for them. Is he finishes the blessings. He goes through them one by one. We don't have time to go through all of them, but they are very interesting. He gets to the youngest one, Benjamin, who is the one that Joseph had put the stolen Pharaoh's goblets in Benjamin's bag, and the brothers, everybody's bargaining for poor little Benjamin, who lost his brother at this early age. This is what the closing words of Father Jacob are to this little Benjamin. I mean, he's not so little anymore, but the way Torah is sort of out of time, we still think of him as the young, innocent child. And these are the words that that Jacob blesses Benjamin with. Benjamin is a wolf that rends in the morning, devouring the booty, in the evening, dividing the spoil. I mean, it's like, is this a blessing, like, or a curse? Like, what is this? And I've been studying what is the gift, the spiritual gift, at least, that Torah is giving to us by having blessings like this be the closing of the book, a father's parting words to his sons. And what I came up with is actually something I learned from the Hindu tradition. And it's that the father is seeing the sons, he's seeing their shadow sides. He's saying to them, look, we humans are a mess. We have wonderful intentions, or we have terrible intentions, and our actions and the effects of our actions often have nothing to do with what our intentions actually were. And the gift of the Father is he's saying, I see you, my sons. I see who you are, because even though my eyes are dim, as Torah keeps telling us that Jacob's eyes are dim, I see you. I see you. I see your messy attempts to make a meaning of your life. And I bless you. I still bless you, even though I see you. And this is so close to this story that maybe many of us have heard, when Ram Dass, another Rabbi Richard Alpert, aka Ram Dass, using the word rabbi as teacher. I think Ram Dass is one of the great Jewish teachers of my generation, certainly. Ram Dass tells the story of when he went to India and met the person, the avatar, the man who would become his guru, Neem Karoli Baba. And Ram Dass had had this insane journey getting to Neem Karoli Baba's ashram somewhere in India. And he appears before Neem Karoli Baba, and Neem Karoli Baba completely reads Ram Dass's mind, reads his dreams, says, well, I know you're really worried about something going on with Ram Dass's mother, and I want you to know it's all okay. And Ram Dass, in that moment, woke up to this unconditional love that was being offered to him through Neem Karoli Baba. And what Ram Dass took away from that moment was that Neem Karoli Baba could read his mind, could know all of his thoughts, and still love him. And I think that is this moment that we're seeing when Jacob is like an oracle saying to his sons, you did these horrible things. You killed, you pillaged, you stole my bed, and I'm still blessing you because I still love you. So I think that the whole arc of the book of Genesis, one of the arcs of the book of Genesis, is this capacity of human beings. We do have the capacity to see the truth. We do have the capacity to see the impact of our actions and to see the impact of other people's actions and still love each other. And it's messy, and over we don't get it right. And yet we have this capacity. And I think that is the hope that gets carried into the book of Exodus and through the next books. There's going to be a forward movement and a backward movement, a forward movement and a backward movement of the people to something that's promised to us. And as long as we keep our consciousness kind of in tune with the possibility of something better, we will keep moving on, even though we keep messing up. And I thought I would just talk about a few of the ways in this week's Parsha that we keep messing up. I mean, the first one is when Father Jacob is in his, what will be his, soon be his deathbed, and he calls Joseph and Joseph's sons, and he goes to bless Joseph's sons, and he crisscrosses his hands and he mixes them up again. And there's all kinds of ways of making beautiful sense of that. And there's still this mixing up, that even when we go to bless, we mix things up. We mix up birth order. Or maybe what this Parsha is saying is, let's question any birth order that we think has been handed down to us. Because what's actually happening is the younger is being gifted, I don't know if that's the right word, but is being chosen in some respect over the older. And so it seems like it's a mix-up, right? This is what happens when Jacob goes to kind of spiritually adopt Joseph's two sons, and he goes to bless them, and he puts his right hand on the younger son and his left hand on the older son. And Joseph's like, no, you've got it mixed up. And Jacob's like, no, I don't have it mixed up. It's always mixed up. And I think a beautiful takeaway there is Toyrah again saying, whatever you're stuck in, whatever belief you are stuck in of who is worthy and who isn't, forget it. You really don't have control over that. So the answer is to create abundance in your life, which was Joseph's gift, and create a world where there's enough for everyone. Right. So that even the ones, you know, he goes through these blessings to all his sons, the ones who, some of them are beautiful blessings. Zebulon shall dwell at the seashore, right? But the others, some of them, Simeon and Levi are instruments of violence. I don't really see that as a blessing. And in fact, the father, in saying that, says how uh, let me not enter their counsel. That's what Jacob is saying about these two sons who will go on to be extremely powerful and influential in the lineage. So we're always going to be mixed up, and we're always going to be getting it right, getting it not so right, actually. Um, and yet, can we see, and this is the challenge today in our world today, that even though people are really doing horrible, violent things to try and meet their needs, to meet their people's needs, to meet their tribe's needs, to survive, we're messing it up over and over, and yet, reconciliation is what we're supposed to be aiming for. And each one of us, no matter what's happening around us, has this, I think, responsibility to work for a kind of reconciliation. And oh, I know I'm running out of time. Another example, I just think, looking at the whole book of Genesis, is that every single breakdown between brothers and sisters ends with a reconciliation. And even on his deathbed, Jacob omits the most amazing reconciliation in Toyrah, right? Which is when Jacob and Esau came together to bury their father in the cave of Machpelah. And it's so interesting to me that Jacob leaves that out. And there's a lot we could make of that. And yet Toyrah keeps reminding us that that's what happened. And the way Toyrah reminds us of that is that Esau is always coming back. Esau never disappears from the story. Esau's progeny, right after Esau and Jacob have their reconciliation, Toyrah goes on, I counted how many verses, I think it's 18 verses, recounting the lineage of Esau. So we can look back at Toyrah and really find, I think, hope, encouragement, possibility, forgiveness, and reconciliation. And I just want to really bless us as we're going into the, I guess this is like the Christian New Year, or the New Year of the sun, let's call it the solar New Year, that we can look at our loved ones, at ourselves with the eyes of possibility, and not get lost in hopelessness because of how humans keep messing it up. Thank you.